Flight TV, Mr. Top Flight Films, Big Flight. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. We're gonna chop it up. Today we talking about Nick Cannon and Chilli from TLC, supposedly on the hot seat. And we gonna start it off like this, man. First thing I want to say is I'm gonna probably repeat it throughout this stream. Black America, y'all don't get it yet. A lot of us have already woken up. A lot of us have been woken up, right? But there's a large sector of Black America, and I don't know if they foundational or not, but there's a large sector of Black America that has not woken up. A large sector of Black America is still on a Democratic plantation. And not to say that we're on we rocking with Republicans, but a lot of us, okay, a lot of us we stopped falling for the banana in the tailpipe, man. And the ones left on the plantation are upset every time a Black celebrity or even a regular Black person speaks against the Democrats. And today we're going to chop it up about that, man. We're going to talk about this. We're going to break this down because you would think things would start to register, right? You would think things would start to register like, damn, okay, so we got such and such, this person, that person. All of these Black Americans are disowning the Democratic Party. And I think when people see Nick Cannon say the things that he said, and when they see other Black males and Black females saying their critiques about the Democratic Party, I think a lot of people that are on the plantation, I think they get fearful. Right? And what they do is they get very fearful because they don't know how to handle this. They've dedicated themselves to this Democratic plantation. They do not know how to handle the change. Okay. And, you add some misinformation to that and willful ignorance, then this is what you have. So Nick Cannon was in the headlines today. I didn't really watch the video. I don't really care to watch the video that he made. But the gist of it is he said that the Democratic Party is a party of the KKK. And, if you know your history, you know that that's true. Maybe it's some half truths in there. Who cares? Who gives a fuck at this point? Who cares at this point? He was riding with Amber Rose, which was a little suspect. Whatever. I'm not even mad at Amber Rose. But he made these statements, and now Roland Martin, D.L. Hughley, and the rest of the Raccoon show, they're upset and they're cussing and they're fussing and they're getting their little panties in a bunch because it's going to affect their paper. See, the problem is a lot of Black folks are listening to these type of Negroes. And what they don't understand is these people are paid. The D.L. Hughleys. Hey, Sonic Boom TV, what it do, my brother? The D.L. Hughleys, the Ricky Smileys, the Roland Martins. Do y'all not understand that they are paid to keep you on the plantation? Listen, I don't even want to insult nobody. A lot of people don't know this. They don't understand this. Let's take D.L. Hughley, for instance. All right, so I'm an old head, right? So every day I come home to cook dinner for my family, I turn on 102.3, right? And it's the D.L. Hughley show. God, I wish he wasn't on there the time I cook dinner, but he's on there, unfortunately. Every night about 4 o'clock, from 4 to 6 p.m., you will hear D.L. Hughley whining and crying about Donald Trump. You will hear D.L. Hughley caping for the Democratic Party every single night. You understand? Every night. Do y'all not think that he is incentivized and paid to do this. I mean, he doesn't agree with anything that the Republicans have done. He doesn't agree with anything. Why nobody uses common sense? There have been this paperwork out there on Roland Martin. What's up, big dog? How you feeling? Roland Martin. There's actual documents that Roland Martin was paid $300,000 to get you niggas to vote for Kamala Harris. Do y'all know this shit? So when we see a Nick Cannon, we see a Chilli from TLC. They found out Chilli donated money to Trump on the low. You know what I'm saying? And they talking about canceling her. Why is it that black people can't? Why is it that black people can't vote for who they want to vote for? Can't feel how they want to feel? Why is that? But that immigrant lady that just went up and spoke and said that immigrants should get reparations. These Democrat people had nothing to say about this. These so-called black folks aren't talking about the immigrant lady that is trying to get reparations for immigrants. Come on, man. John E. Snow said black people stuck on the past. Nigga, move on. I'm talking about a headline that came out today. You dig? What are you talking about, John? Are you even up to speed on the conversation, sir? So why is it that? Well, we know why, but a lot of these niggas are scared, man. Let's just be real. A lot of these niggas are scared because it's about to be over. Uh, Everybody's waking up. No matter what Trump has done thus far, this man Trump has been deplorable in a lot of instances. Trump has said whatever he wanted to say out his mouth. And a lot of us are like, so what? So what? We're not fucking with y'all. Okay. Who cares? You could say Trump bad all you want. You could make Trump look like the worst. We don't care. We're still not fucking with y'all. You dig? We still not fucking with that Democratic Party, man. Once we done with that, we're done with that. See, once you open your eyes to what the Democratic Party is about and what they've done, there is no going back. Until they come up with some real tangibles for foundational black Americans, there's no going back. They keep playing in our face, y'all. And it's too far gone for them. They are too far gone. That Democratic Party is too infested with immigrants. And they have their people in their best interests. They're not worried about foundational black Americans. They are not concerned one bit about the black folks whose ancestors built this country. They're not concerned about the black folks whose ancestors went through hell to make America a civilized place. Because America wasn't civilized until we fought for civil rights. You understand? John E. Snow says, y'all black people use politics. John, you must not be listening to the conversation, sir. Uh James Epps says to build America, they were in hell. I don't know what that means. Listen, y'all. I don't mind you coming in here with your opinion, but at least type a sentence that's readable. You understand that I can read. You know what I mean? Don't come in here all uneducated and shit. Blazer says carnival cruises are not civilized. Okay, I'll give you that. There's a small sector of the black community that is not civilized. Okay, but we can talk about every group. Okay, that doesn't take away the fact that before we fought for civil rights, y'all were hanging people from trees. That doesn't take away the fact that before civil rights, there was something called segregation. We had to fight, literally fight. My ancestors had to fight and die for people to stop saying, "Oh, we're gonna hang him because he's black," or "No, he can't come in our store because he's black." I know it. I know you're ashamed of it. Listen, partner. I know you're ashamed of it. It doesn't feel good to revisit that, but we have to talk about the history in order to know where we're going. You dig? You can name all the degenerate. Listen, I'll agree with you. There's degeneracy in our community at this point, but we're gonna also add in that every bit of degeneracy that's in our community, it is manufactured by white supremacy. And I'll debate you and anybody else on that. But you don't want to take accountability. Of course you don't. Yeah. Hey, Linda said, yes, I understand. Most inventions in the 19th, 20th centuries were stolen from Black American inventors. There was so much stolen from our ancestors. But I didn't even want to go in this direction. I didn't even want to go in this direction. I'm gonna get back to the topic. Nick Cannon. They trying to cancel our good brother along with Chili from TLC. They're trying to take Chili's tour. They supposed to go on tour soon, and they trying to like mess with her tour. You dig? All because she feels the way she feels, and she wanted to vote for who she wanted to vote for. These Democrats are not saying nothing about that lady that was up there talking about immigrants should get reparations. See, little shit like that will make me vote Republican next election. You understand? We cannot allow them Democrats to get back in office. We just can't. They too disrespectful. They are too disrespectful. Job bless entrepreneur said blaming white people then talking about accountability. Who blamed who for what? I just stated historical facts, sir. Listen. I know y'all get hurt and you feel a little weird when I talk about shit like this. When stuff like this comes up, when the deeds of your forefathers get brought up, I understand you get a little uncomfortable. You dig? I get it. But don't lie and say that I was blaming white people. I just gave you an historical fact, okay? Before foundational Black Americans marched, sang, prayed, cried, some fought, had sit-ins before my ancestors did all of that. The white folks in this country were hanging niggas from trees and making postcards and sending them to other family. They were eating black folks. Okay. I mean, do I gotta go on? You know the history. You know the history, dog. We ain't gotta go there. John E. Snow said, I can't respect grown ass black men and women still acting a victim. Listen, John, I don't need your respect, sir. I don't need your respect. You gonna get this work. I don't need your respect. You will get this work though. I know what hurts, bro. I know what hurts. But listen, when I was younger, right, my big brother, he used to do some shady shit sometimes, right? And people would come to me and be like, "Yo, your brother just did this, just did that to me." And I, what can I do? What do you want me to say? What am I supposed to say to you? I'm not gonna tell that man stop acting like a victim. You dig? My family do something to you. I gotta take. I gotta. That's my family. So your ancestors, right? Your forefathers, they were degenerates. Okay, you gotta live with that, sir. Don't get mad at me. Don't try to flip the narrative as if I'm playing a victim. I'm just stating an historical fact. Okay. John E. Snow said, "Your work ain't ish." I don't know what that means. Don P, my homie Don P in the building said, "Nah, we not going Chrisette Michelle, child. Uh, if anything, the black community owes Chrisette. I agree. They owed that lady an apology. She was the first one. See now, you know, listen. 2016, Trump came out. A lot of people were unsure. Okay, a lot of us were unsure. 2022, when he get in there, 24, we knew. We knew. Like we didn't. Not saying I didn't vote for Trump. A lot of us didn't vote for Trump, but we knew Trump was better than Kamala. And we knew that the Republican agenda was way better than the Democrat agenda. You understand? And that's why Trump got in office. We didn't really come outside to vote. You know what I'm saying? John, you sound hurt, brother. You sound hurt. Out the woods, what it do, homie? Blazer said, your ancestors worked today. Y'all's people don't work. Rappers, streamers, straight up lazy. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, Blazer, let's unpack that real quick. Okay, see what you're doing, right? Is you're naming, right? You're naming things that are promoted by your community. Okay, let's stop. Listen, you're at the right page to get some education. Okay, Blazer, you're talking about rappers. Who owns the labels? Don't say the small hats because I know you're gonna say the small hats because y'all like to blame the small hats. The small hats are kicking y'all ass. Y'all whining and crying about the small hats all goddamn day. Everybody in every entity that you just named is promoted by the dominant society. Okay. So that is not black culture. That is not black America. That's a small part of black culture. That is not black culture as a whole. You understand? Of course, you want it to be. Of course, when you go on Twitter and you go on Instagram, you see black people fighting. It's being programmed in your head that that's who we are. We already get that. But we can also go and type in our algorithm. White folks fighting. We can go type that in. We can see all kind of white degeneracy if we chose to go look at shit like that. See, we don't really care to sit around and look at shit like that. You do. You guys sit around and you buy the rap music. Who buys the most rap music? Somebody in the chat answer that question. What race buys the most rap music and attends the most rap concerts? Who buys the rap concert tickets? Somebody answer in the chat. The kid. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Who sells out the NBA Young Boy concerts? Who? Okay. Yeah, we got some trolls in the building. We got trolls in the building. Blazer said, I listened to 80s R&B back when music was music. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You got to understand history. And that's why we talk about history on this page often. Because when you know about history, you understand that a lot of hip hop, most hip hop, 99% of hip hop was about consciousness, right? 99% of hip hop was about uh, positivity, dancing, having fun, knowledge of self. Until your community, right? Your community found that there was more profit in death and destruction. This is just a fact. Don't blame us, blame your community. They saw that there was more profit in black death and destruction. They said, hey, oh shit, NWA, let's put some money behind them. And they never stopped. They kept doing it. 2024, 2025 is when they said, you know what, we're going to stop putting money into this shit because all of our artists are going to prison. They all going to jail for RICO. We got Young Thug, we got Casanova, we got Lil Durk. I mean, you name it. They all getting shot down the street. Young Dolph, Nipsey Hussle, Jada Youngin, Fulio. I mean, the name goes on. The list goes on. But who is funding this shit? Who? Not us. We don't fund these things. You understand? So whenever I want to talk to the family, whenever these people try to trick you and act like, yeah, we got our shit right. We have. That's why when they was in there talking about, the degeneracy in our community, I don't shy away from that. I'm not one of these brothers that'll sit here and tell you no, we perfect and everything is cool. No, no. we know that we have a section of our community that is degenerate, right? But the thing is, they try to make it seem like that's the black community and that's black culture. That's not what that is. You understand? Black culture is way bigger than that. We're way more than that. Black culture is spiritual. You understand? I'm talking about the way we take care of our elders. I heard this the other day. No other community that I know of takes care of their elders and holds their elders in a high regard like foundational black Americans. You understand? Uh Rainbow Tree said, what is black culture? That's a great question. Let's start. I'm glad you asked that. And I don't want to hear no whining when I break this down, right? Just accept this truth for what it is. Let's talk about one of the major key elements of black culture. One of the major key elements of black culture is our culture of resistance. Okay? We have a culture of resistance. See, y'all seen the No Kings protest? Y'all seen the No Kings protest and all that yesterday? Okay, that's black culture. Okay, hitting the streets and protesting and resisting. You understand? That's what we do. That's what we've done. Okay. Now, another aspect of black culture is civil rights. Our civil rights movements are revered all around the world. Listen, our civil rights movements are revered and copied all around the world. I want you all to understand something. Not many other cultures. See, we could talk about the drilling and killing that goes on in black culture, right? But we also have a culture of fighting for civil rights that the whole world knows about. You understand? Who are, and I like this question, my brother Tariq asks this question often. Who are the and let's just be real, who are the white civil rights leaders that are revered all around the world? Who? Name one. Who are the white civil rights leaders that are revered all around? You go anywhere in this world, you're gonna see a mural of Martin Luther King. You're gonna see a mural of Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, many other people all around the world. You're gonna see Tupac. You understand? You're gonna see Tupac everywhere. You dig? So yeah, that's another part of our culture. Fairness. We are the real patriots. You understand? We fought for for liberty and justice for all. Who else has done that? What other culture? Let's talk some real shit right now. Listen, put it in the goddamn chat. What other culture has fought relentlessly and consistently for liberty and justice for all? Who? Who? Sonic Boom TV said no. With the women, you simply wanted them in the workplace so you could tax them. Craftsman said Lincoln. Nobody is honoring Lincoln like that, dog. Lincoln is not, he's not really revered for his civil rights. You dig? He's not really revered around globally. That's an American thing. Yeah, they love Lincoln in America, sure. But Abe Lincoln is not really a prom. Tupac is more revered than Abe Lincoln globally. Okay. Tammy Pierce said, we marched protesting a T tax well before you march for your rights. Okay, I'll give you that. That's cool. But again, we have consistently and relentlessly protest. You understand? We've never stopped. Wally Lancaster said, the problem is this, and the question is this. Why don't we fight to protect our culture from the beginning? If we can fight so damn good for a purpose, make it make sense. You gotta condense that question, bro. I don't really understand what you mean. Nikita said, if it was for the 1964 Civil Rights Act, most foreigners wouldn't be allowed to come here. Abe Lincoln was a mulatto. I don't know about that second part, but I agree with that first part. Yeah, if it wasn't for foundational Black Americans, a lot of immigrants wouldn't allowed to be over here, and that's just a simple fact, man. And you see a lot of immigrants now trying to cancel Nick Cannon. Like, how dare you? Like, Slum, like you're not even from here. You can't tell us who we can vote for. You can't tell us who we can support. You can't tell us who we can condemn and not condemn. Why? Why? Look, if you go on Facebook and you look at this topic, right, and you see the people that are trying to cancel Nick Cannon, they're not even really foundational Black Americans. Who the hell gave them the right to critique us on how we move here in America? You don't have any say on how we move here in America. Just be grateful, right, that you here, that we fought for you to get here, and you need to just let us do what we do. You dig? Uh, Always Faller said, "Is Nick not an American?" Yeah, Nick is an American. He is. From what I understand, he's a foundational Black American, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Nick is an American. He's allowed to vote for or critique or praise whoever he wants to. Don't let these Democrats like D.L. Hughley and Roland Martin, don't let these people try to brainwash you, because a lot of our people are brainwashed. You understand? Um, they're not fighting against the racism within the Democratic Party. They try to make it seem like only Donald Trump is racist. They try to make it seem like the Republicans are the only racist ones. And we know that's not true. You dig? Emil Amos said, you think people didn't fight? You're crazy. As my we lived all over the planet. Who you think fought Napoleon? I don't. Who cares? I'm not even talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. That's beside the point. Um, that's beside the point, brother. Brad says, honestly, no one gives a shit about Nick Cannon outside of his friends and family. Uh, Guitar Gamer said, we were the first country to end and fight against slavery, correct? Um, sure, sure. But the thing is, they try to make history seem like y'all just got tired of having slaves do shit for y'all for free. That's not how it went. I don't want to give a history lesson, but the way you probably learned how slavery ended, it's not really how slavery ended. They make it sound nice, and Abe Lincoln freed the slaves because he's just such an honest individual. He's so noble, but that's his story. That's not history. You dig? Um, Emberio says, you are a V brainwashed brother. You don't know anything of what you can't spell, bro. Like, come in here intelligent. Say something intelligent, and we can have a dialogue. Say something intelligent. Sonic Boom TV said, where did these trolls even come from? I don't know, brother. I'm glad they here, though. So I ain't talking to myself. Big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Hey, hit the like button for me, man. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Y'all know we chop it up here often. Y'all know when it's nice out, I really chop it up like every day or almost every day on different topics. We talk about a little bit of everything over here. You dig? But yeah, did y'all see that immigrant lady uh get up there on that microphone and said that immigrants should get reparations? See, that should be the end of the Democratic Party as we know it. You understand? That should be the end. It shouldn't be no more guessing. These people don't love you. They don't fuck with you. They are very disrespectful to you and your ancestors. Imberio says, explain why black African warlords sold the weaker black people. Explain that. But why do I need to explain that? What? What is? I don't understand. Yeah, we know Africans. We know Africans sold other Africans. We know this. Okay, you're late to the party. They need to pay reparations too. The Africans that sold us and some of our ancestors, because some of my ancestors are indigenous to this land. You understand that? Yes, and I have the proof to back it up. You understand? Some of my ancestors are indigenous to this land, not America, but to this land before there was an America. Before you Irish came over, before you Italians came over, I had family here long, long time ago. Yes. And some of us mixed in with the Africans that got brought over here. Guitar Gamer said, honest question, who in America should have to pay reparations? See, I didn't want to talk about reparations because people get so upset and angry over that topic. But just to answer your question, the US government owes reparations to foundational black Americans. You dig? So it would come from the US government. You know, the same people spending 2 billion a day on this war, the same people spending 2 billion a day on this war. Uh Sonic Boom TV said YT thinks the seller absolves the buyer of responsibility. I really don't understand. I don't understand their argument when they do that. You know what I'm saying? Like this, that shit is crazy to me. Yeah, the taxpayers, the US government, taxpayers. Yep, sure. Yep. However it needs to be paid. And that's the thing with me, man. Like, Emil Amos said, how long did you think your people were over here? And do you believe they were related to the people in the motherland? I just broke that down. I just told you. I got family. Listen, my mother's side of the family are Natty Coat Indians. You dig? I'm not pretending. They were really Natty Coat Indians. You dig? There's a museum in Delaware that I can take you to they took me to this museum and they showed me who my ancestors were. And there's documents. Okay. You understand? And a lot of black folks, if you ask most black people that are foundational, if their parents or their grandparents told them about their indigenous ancestors, most black people will tell you that their family told them that they were native. You understand? Ashy Knuckles said the same people who paid the Chinese and Jews their reparations need to pay. Yeah, indeed. Listen, we have been, our ancestors' hard labor has been downplayed. Okay. As I roam the countryside, okay, as I roam in my region and I travel, I look around, I'm like, you know what, man? A lot of this shit wouldn't be possible without the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors. You understand? And I don't think your average individual looks at it like that. They think that it was the forefathers that are responsible for this shit. I'll keep it a buck. I'm not like a lot of people. I will keep it a buck. Sure, the forefathers, you guys as forefathers, they had the ingenuity, they had the brain power. They did it. They did a number. They did some shit out here. They were some smart motherfuckers. Then they're still smart. I'm not gonna sit up here in front like black people did everything. No, your ancestors, your forefathers, they were some deceptive, sneaky, smart motherfuckers. And they said, we're gonna go get us some niggas, okay? And it was really based on their survival. They really had to get creative because they were gonna die over here without us. You dig? Without the extra help, they were gonna die. Okay. And they were starting to eat each other. And they needed help. And they said, we're gonna go get us some niggas, man. And they're gonna work over here for free. And we're gonna put a mean program in place. We're gonna breed these people. We're going to work these people. We're going to put them on plantations. They're going to do all the hard labor, and we're going to build up a country. And I got to take my hat off to that. They were some devious, sneaky, goddamn insidious. I mean, who thinks of shit like that? See, they call us degenerate, right? They try to say that we're degenerate. They try to say that we're fucked up as a community, as a culture. But this culture of stealing, invading, killing, them boys in Chicago, DC, Memphis, they learn from the best. They learn from the best, okay? They learn from the real killers, dog. You understand? You go look at Venezuela. Donald Trump is a prime. I love what's going on in the climate today because we're seeing white supremacy in its purest form. We're seeing this shit in real time. We're seeing Donald Trump say, hey, and to be honest, we're sitting back using it to our benefit. Like shit, hey, sure, knock yourself out. But we're seeing Donald Trump saying, hey, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna take this shit. I'm gonna conquer. We're conquering. We're conquering, goddammit. This is what y'all call it. Y'all call it conquering. Remember? It's conquering. Y'all have nice words to deflect from what really went on. You dig? Um, David Money said, who taught them farming? Who put up their buildings? These bastards didn't know soap till they found us. No, you listen. Absolutely, we contributed a whole lot. What I'm saying is, they had the idea to come get us. Okay, we got to give them at least that. We'll give them that. They had the idea to come get us, and it's like setting up shop, like on a dope strip or something. We're gonna go. Listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take that street over. You see that street over there? Them dudes over there. We're gonna clear them off the street. Okay. We're gonna bring our product over here. We're gonna go get our workers, and we're gonna get money. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. You dig? And I'm not, applauding how they did it because they were very evil and demonic. See, they talk about slavery was all over the world. There has never been a slavery like it was a slavery right here in USA. This slavery that was over here was so demonic. Okay, it was some demonic ass forefathers, dog. You understand? Brad said, "Bullshit, dude." Brad doesn't like it. Brad doesn't like how I'm talking. See, listen, man. They tell us to stop talking about racism, right? But I think what people need to do is people need to accept the history for what it is. Yeah, y'all literally want to tell us to stop talking about it. No, we're never going to stop talking about it. So the best thing you should do is just accept what your forefathers did. And if you're really an American and you want liberty and justice for all, you should be fighting for justice and liberty for all. And uh, that includes financial justice. You dig? Sonic Boom TV said they need to have conversations with their grandparents. Yeah, indeed. But Sonic Boom TV. Reality is a lot of these people know they grew up in this shit. They know how racist their family is. See, people try to act like racism doesn't exist, but your average white person, they know what they grew up with. They know the people they grew up with. Now, I know a lot of white families where you can't go in there with no racist shit. You understand? I do know a lot of white families, enough white families that you can't walk in their house with no, and they really, really, they don't condone racism, at least in that immediate family. But majority grew up with their dad, grew up with their mother, calling people niggas. Okay, let's keep it real. Um, Brad said, no, I'm saying stop complaining. You are lucky to not be a current slave in Africa. What? You want me to? All right, Brad. Listen. Where did your family come from, sir? You're lucky. You're lucky to not be over in the wilderness of Europe, right? Broke, busted, and disgusted. You're lucky that we made a place for you to come here. Okay, where's your family from? You're lucky, Bucko. All right, yeah, you're fucking lucky, sir. We prepared this beautiful. We prepared this beautiful homeland. Okay, that was us. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Brad? Come on back in here. Sorry, boss. You're lucky, pal. Brad said so. Slavery too. I am due reparations, sir. Your people were not enslaved. Knock it off. We're not. I'm not even going to attempt to debunk that again. We've done it so much on this page. We've debunked it over and over and over and over. You dig? But Brad, you still haven't answered me. Where is your family from, my man? What part of the Europe are they from? See, and they'll say shit like that to you. They'll be like, "You're lucky that you're not in Africa. No, you're lucky that we got here. You're lucky that we were strong. You're lucky that we were strong and we can withstand. You're lucky we weren't weak people, right? Because they came and they got strong slaves. And they sold the strong slaves and they bred the strong slaves and made more strong slaves. You're lucky, okay, that we were able to endure the slavery and the conditions that we were put in. You're lucky, sir. This wouldn't be here, Brad. Okay. Um, Greg Doe says, "Sup, flight is Dontavius from high school. You cracked my ex. I wanted to say thank you, gang. It motivated me. Now I own my own. But who's your ex? Dontavius. I don't know. No Dontavius. I ain't go to school with no Dontavius, dog. But just in case, who's your ex?" The Keita said the word slave comes from Slavic. We are not Slavic indigenous. Yeah, I know where the word slave comes from. The Gate of Hell says y'all don't want to talk about the Arab Trading Commission. Listen, we're going to talk about American slavery. See, you always want to pass the ball, guys. This is this is this is this is what y'all do. Y'all want to pass the ball and talk about everything but, okay? I didn't even want to talk about slavery today. We talking about Donald Trump, Nick Cannon, and chili in the ass kissing Negroes that are on a Democratic plantation. That's what we talking about. You dig? But I just want to say this, man. Um, we cannot allow these Democrats to think that they have control over what we can say, who we can support. You dig? We cannot do that, man. Like the awakening is slowly happening, but it's happening. I'm not a MAGA individual. You dig? I'm not a Trumper. I kind of like Donald Trump. I think his latest move was fucked up. I think he fucked up. You dig? But the more these Democrats open their mouth, the more I like Donald Trump. You understand? The more these Democrats expose their hand, the more I lean towards being a Republican. Nobody's telling these fools to stop. Nobody's telling these fools to shut up. Nobody's telling these fools, hey, y'all fucking up. You dig? I don't care about the origin of slaves, Brad. I don't care about that. Real Meg Ladon. What up, homie? Shout out to Portland, man. BBY said, what's your thoughts on Boko Haram? I don't have too many thoughts on Boko Haram. From what I understand, those are the real niggas from over there. Those are the ones that are fighting for revolution. I'm not saying real niggas if it's a good thing. I'm just saying those are the ones that want revolution. From what I'm understanding, I could be wrong. I don't really deal in affairs of Africa. I'm a foundational Black American. I like to keep my sights and my focus right here. You dig? Now I'm not from Houston, homie. Yeah, America first. I wholeheartedly agree in America coming first. Is it, man? Listen, is America first at this point? No. We are over in Iran spending buku money, money that they said they didn't have. Remember they said they ain't had no money for reparations. We can't give you reparations. There's no money for it. Well, they found some motherfucking money, didn't they? Yes, they did. And the shit is really about to get thick, man. They really about to send these troops to go over there and get slaughtered. You dig? And I hope Donald Trump and the War Department can pull a rabbit out of a hat. And I hope the weapons that they say they have are so powerful and great that they can go in there and take care of business. But white supremacy is going to be the death of America. You understand that? White supremacy is going to be the death and the demise of America. I don't care which one of y'all racists in the chat like that. You understand? When I say white supremacy, I mean the greed, I mean the deception, I mean the power hungry people in office. Okay, not just Republican. I'm talking about all of this shit. Whether it's the Democrats with their weird agenda, this shit, it's gonna be the we're going to hell in a handbag. You understand? That's all. Until foundational Black Americans get reparations and get the respect that we're owed, right? This shit is going to hell in a handbag. That's all. Uh, Milky 89 said, should we abolish the 13th Amendment? He said, begging for money. Nobody's begging for money. I don't need, I'm just saying, I'm just stating facts, bro. Like, until America makes it right. See, America never made it right, dog. What you don't understand about this? You think Iran doesn't know this? You think all these people that chant death to America don't know how America did our ancestors and did us? Yeah, I'm 45. You understand? I'm an American. I'm a proud American, foundational Black American. But you don't think the rest of the world knows and is disgusted with how Black Americans were done? So it don't matter. You can say I'm begging for money. It will behoove. I love that word. I love pulling that word out. It will behoove America to make it right with foundational Black Americans so the rest of the world can see and say, damn, they got their act together. They finally made it right with the people that built that shit for free. You dig? Yeah, it goes the same talking points. Victim mentality. I know. Yeah, I am a victim. My ancestors were victims. Okay? Yeah. You want me to lie to you? You might hear some guys like Myron Gaines or Jesse Lee Peterson. You might hear these guys, get on their YouTube and say the things that they say, but they're no fools. They know what they're doing. They are doing that so they can get a large platform. If I wanted to get a large platform and get money from YouTube, I can act like a Sambo. Okay, I can get up here and tell you and talk about the degeneracy in the Black community all day. I can get up here and tell you that Black people act like victims all day. I can do that. I can make a lot of money. I can make because y'all love that shit. I can make a lot of money doing that. Jimmy Myers says, never forget history, especially if it's offensive. Brad said, Brad, you still here, bro? I respect that, Brad. I respect you. You're still here. I gotta give you some credit, man. I thought you'd have rolled out by now. Brad said, "This is where we will never come to a conclusion. You are not a victim." Okay, I am a victim, sir. Let me tell you, I can go on. I got a hella story. I got plenty of stories. Look, you see that right there? You know, the police did that to me. They hit me with a baton, a police baton, while I was in handcuffs. You understand? I'm a victim, sir. I'm, I'm a goddamn victim. You understand? And I got plenty of stories, man. I got plenty of stories. I still go through racism. Just last year, I was pulled over, right, in my car, coming from work, doing my job, and I was followed by undercovers. I was pulled over by 8 police cars. I was ripped out of my car, and my car was searched. I'm a grown man. I'm a homeowner. I have kids. You understand? I don't do drugs. I don't sell drugs. I don't do crime. You don't consider that being a victim? You don't consider that being a victim? I was pulled over and profiled for no reason. You dig? And I can go on and on. I'm just giving a couple of examples. M. Barrios is still in the building. He said Chinese built. No, God, you gotta do your homework, brother. Yeah, Chinese built some railroads after the fact. You got to look up who really built the first railroads. Okay, I know y'all. Listen to my racist guys in here, the white supremacists in here. Let me talk to y'all real quick. We understand that there's a version of history that you were taught. There's a version of history that you were taught, right? And then there's the real version. Okay. Do you think that your forefathers and your fathers are going to tell you the real version? They're going to tell you the version that makes you feel comfortable. You dig? No, I didn't sue, Brad. I didn't sue. No, I didn't sue. I didn't. You know why I ain't sue? Let me tell you why I ain't sue. Because as a black man, we knew. My parents knew, right? My parents knew that if we sued, there's a possibility that we will become more of a target. You understand? And this is how we move in Black America. You understand? You don't know nothing about this shit. You don't know nothing about this. You don't know nothing about how the things that we've had to go through and some of the things. When I go into a restaurant, let me tell you something. When I go into a restaurant, and I'm not bitching, I'm just saying this. I'm just stating facts. When I go into a restaurant, I I have to hope that somebody's not spitting in my food. You dig? This is the world I live in. You dig? I'm extra nice to them, to the people behind the counter because a motherfucker just might want to spit in my food because I'm black. You dig? And you think that's not a thing? You think that's not real? That's a real thing. And again, I can go on for days, and I got plenty of. I know you. I know, Brad. Listen, Brad. Listen. It's uncomfortable for you, but at the end of the day, the truth hurts, man. You dig? But look, I'm out. I'm gonna get with y'all. I'm gonna come back probably tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday. All right. All right. Peace.